Welcome back to Joe and Di's Allotment channel. I'm Joe, and Di's behind the camera as always. Yeah, it's week 1 of September and we're now approaching the autumn and not far from winter I suppose now, a few months away from winter. So what we're doing this time of year is we're tidying up, we're clearing beds that have summer crops are ending. So the sweet corn's finished, so I'm going to try and clear that bed today. We're still cropping tomatoes. Cucumber is up there nearly finished, so we'll be cropping probably tomatoes for a few more weeks yet, as long as the weather holds up. But I would have thought those beds will also be clear in the next 2 to 3 weeks maybe. So yeah, I mean, what we try to do as well though, some allotment holders sort of put their allotments to bed in the autumn and don't do much in the winter, but we try to utilise as much of the beds as we can to still carry on growing stuff as far as we can through the winter as well. So things like spinach, winter radishes, spring onions, oriental greens. I mean, we like to sort of put as much as we can into the plots, so we've got something fresh. Even in the winter, we've got still can get winter lettuces, varieties that grow through the winter. We're in the south of the country, so it's not too bad as temperatures go. I mean, we get to sort of -4, -5 sometimes, and we get about sort of 25 to 30 frost days. So you can get through. Some crops can get through if you sort of cover them over on certain days, and if you use winter hardy varieties, you can still maintain sort of fresh produce even through the winter months. Especially if you use if you've got a greenhouse, you can grow stuff in the greenhouses. We like to sort of put parsley, coriander, rocket, perpetual spinach. We put those in the greenhouse, and they'll go through the winter unless we get a really low temperatures, and that'll kill them off. But yeah, so we try to. I mean, this time of year, we're sort of storing stuff away, freezing it, dehydrating it. So we like to have something that we've actually grown sort of every day of the year really. So that's our sort of aim. So if we can grow salad crops throughout the 12-month period, we do. I think we generally do that. I don't think we buy a lot of salad leaves, whether it's baby spinach or baby chard or winter lettuces or rocket. We seem to be able to get through the whole sort of 12-month period without buying any sort of salad leaves really. Yeah, so it's a matter of clearing and reutilising the space, tidy it up a little bit. The plots we don't use, we like to sort of spread over some compost and let it rot down into the ground itself over the winter period. Let the worms sort of drag down any sort of material, anything that's left, we just put back on the compost heap again later. But we've still got lots of things growing at the moment. We've got late sowings of beans that we might be able to get some little crop off of these today, I think. That's not too bad. These were late sowing ones. And we've still got a late sowing the sweet corn to harvest as well. So we're a combination of sort of late sowings and using winter varieties, hardy things. You can extend your season, which is sort of beneficial nutritionally, I suppose. You're getting something fresh throughout the winter period, and it's good for your shopping bills as well. It does reduce your shopping bills if you've got fresh stuff yourself that you can still harvest during the winter months, which is excellent. So yeah, in the autumn we still will sow quite a few beds of bull beans. So we find if we do autumn sowings, they're actually better than the spring sowings because they will grow through the winter. They're quite hardy and they seem to be stronger. So when the black fly come along, they affect the tips, but they don't affect the rest of the plant because it's nice and strong and hardy. Garlic, we'll be sowing garlic in the autumn as well at some stage, and might even put some potatoes in pots for Christmas Day. So we've still got stuff that we planted in modules a few weeks ago, so they're still developing and they can come out onto the plot at some stage in the next few weeks. And I'll still be sowing some winter lettuces into modules this week. But yeah, we can also start planting stuff directly. So once beds are clear, I can put in some rockets, some spring onions, some perpetual spinach, some chard, some pak choy, those sort of things. I can start sort of planting those directly into the plot as well. So yeah, we've still got lots of work to do, even though it's autumn. It's a matter of clearing, but also trying to get as many more harvests as we can throughout the winter period. So to keep our supply of salad leaves going throughout the sort of autumn and winter, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to pot on some Lolo Rosso, so they're ready for potting on, and some little gems. I'm also going to sow some sort of lettuce for the winter. So we've got a variety called Winter Density and some land lettuce, which is also called corn salad. So these should germinate in sort of 7 to 12 days, I suppose. Yeah, 7 to 12 days. They should be ready for sort of using from sort of 10 to 14 weeks on, so right into the winter. So with the Winter Density, what we try and do is we'll put those into the greenhouse as the tomatoes start sort of ending, and we start clearing out the greenhouses. They can go into the greenhouse, which keeps them a little bit warmer, allows them to grow on quite well. But the lamb's lettuce can actually go outside. It's very, very hardy. It's hardly sort of mild frost, but if it gets really, really cold, you can cover it over as well. Yeah, I mean, the Winter Density is a sort of cos lettuce variety, so it's sort of upright, very sweet flavour, so it's really good. But the corn salad, I suppose, a little bit bitterer. It's a little bit bitterer, I suppose, but it's a nice addition to your salads during the winter when there's not much else around really. So we try to sort of produce our own leaves throughout the winter period as well, and these allow us to do it. Yeah, so the Winter Density, I'll put into the pot, and I'll cut one over here as well, and then I'll prick them out when they're large enough to handle. Spread them out a bit. There's quite a few in there, as well, so that'll keep us going for quite a few months. We can successfully sow it as well, probably for another week or two, I suppose. So yeah, 7 to 10 days they should be germinating. And then we've got the lamb's lettuce as well, or the corn salad, which is a very hardy one. Different, it's quite a roundy seed. So we prick those out as well when they're ready, large enough to handle. A couple more in there. As I say, I can plant these outside as well on the plot when their space arises, so and they'll last all the way through the winter hopefully. So cover these about sort of ½ inch deep. So these have been pre-watered, the pots, and been labelled. They should sort of be up in 7 to 10 days hopefully. A little firm down. Give them another sprinkling of water. They should be okay outside, hopefully give them some winter greens. So what I'll do is transplant these little gems as well now. They'll probably go into the greenhouse as well. I can grow them in the pot for quite a while now, and then transplant them again later. Little roots coming out the bottom of there, really nice. Let them grow on in the pot for quite a while. As I say, as space arises, get the big one out of there. Nice little root system on it. They should grow on quite well. Take another one out of there. I can leave a few in the original pot as well and put a bit more soil into it, actually top it up a bit. Might leave those ones in now, I think. Just add a bit more soil to them to earth them up a little bit. that's the little gems done. So these are the low Rossos. Nice little lettuce. So the little gems are sort of compact variety, and the low Rosso sort of a cut and come again one. Nice salad leaf. Nice red variety. Give a nice firming in. These have all been pre-watered, so they should get off quite well. It's a cloudy day today as well, which is quite helpful. It's not too bright and sunny for them to get established again. So that's the stuff into modules and pots today. But we've got some going to do some sowing direct down the plot as well. We're going to clear some areas and going to plant some stuff directly, some sort of radishes, some spring onions, what else? Pak choy, some winter spinach, and some rocket and mustard as well. So I might just plant those directly into the soil now as space becomes available, and see how they go. And if they need transplanting, the space becomes available on the plot, I can sort of move them around as well and fill up any spaces around. So yeah, so that's a job for this week. I like to saw these up a bit as well, they break down a bit quicker in the compost. So we've cleared what was the sweet corn bed. We've still got the later crop down the other end, which we're going to cover up today actually, because that's been now attacked. We've noticed a couple of the corns have been attacked by something, so we'll give it a bit of netting, I think, just to protect it for a bit, because it's not quite ready yet. It won't be ready for another couple of weeks, I don't think. So we cleared that area. We've cleared another little area, 1, 2, 3. So we've got some areas for planting up now, and we've been busy weeding as well. Done quite a lot of weeding. So yeah, looking good down here now. So we've got some areas to plant seedlings into. We've got some areas, I think I'll use that for actually planting seeds direct now. So I'll do that in the next few days as well. We've just covered over the sweet corn, because another two have been munched away. And I think we've discovered who the villain was. We got down here and there was two massive crows munching away, and they flew off as we got here. So that's who's been doing it. I thought it was rats, I thought it was mice, but it's actually crows. So yeah, they're nice and covered over there. I don't think they can get in there, so hopefully they should mature in the next couple of weeks and we'll be able to pick those as a nice late crop. So another job that we've done this week is to shell our beans that we've collected, the dry ones, and we had a lot of help from our grandchildren doing this, so they quite enjoyed doing it. So it's quite good. These are the blue lake ones. We've got some blue lake ones which are like a small haricot bean. We've got some coco bianco, which is a larger sort of white, like a haricot bean. We've got some dwarf yellow rockencore bean. It's called dwarf yellow, but the beans are actually black. That's a bit weird. And we've also got a dwarf borlotto bean, which is like a kidney bean, which is quite nice. So what we do is we dry them out a bit more, and we'll keep some of them for seeds, the ones we haven't got already, seeds for next year, or we use them for soups and stews during the winter. We dry them off a little bit more than use them. So yeah, we've got quite a few here. Give us a few stews and casseroles during the winter, which is good. We're going to harvest some cow. Try and get a whole big bag full actually. Going to get a whole bag full because what we'll do, we'll dehydrate it and dry it into a powder. What we do is normally cut the stems out, which we can use as well for sort of soups, stews, casseroles. We'll keep the stems, but we'll dry the leaves, make them into a powder which we can add to all sorts of recipes. So yeah, we'll use some fresh, but also dry some as well. And keep us going through the whole period. Just harvesting some of these late sown beans. We've got a punnet full, pretty good. And still harvesting lots of tomatoes. I think I harvested 2 punnets from the greenhouse at home this morning, plus these lot from the allotment. I think we're getting up to, I think 16, nearly 20 kilograms so far this year, so we're going to get quite a lot of tomatoes. We're busily drying them still. We dried another lot sliced the other day, so I think we'll have to do some more powder as well in the coming weeks, just to reduce our glut in the fridge. The fridge gets up to a certain level and we dry some, but we've got lots of apples to dry as well, so I think we better sort of get on and dry quite a lot of stuff next week. I think every day next week I think we'll be drying something, I think, just to reduce the sort of gluts we've got at the moment. But yeah, so tomatoes have done really well this year, and we've had no sort of sign of blight at all this year. It's been a very good year for tomatoes. The late crop beans have done a lot better than the ones we sown earlier. The climbing beans were rubbish this year, but these ones I sowed quite a lot later, and we're getting a decent crop off them. They're still producing lots of beans at the moment, so yeah, we'll get quite a bit off of these, I think. So this was the sweet corn bed. We've cleared it and weeded it. So yeah, getting it ready for sowing again now really. So I'm just going to do some drills. I'm going to pre-water them all, and then we'll put some seeds in. So yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 there. So 11 drills, which hopefully will give us some crops to go through the winter period. So things we've sown now are hardy, so hopefully they'll carry on growing through the autumn and winter. The first thing I'm going to sow is some white Lisbon spring onions. I need the other packet as well, I think. So these go about 1/2 inch deep. They should germinate in sort of 14 to 21 days. And they should be ready sort of March, April next year, hopefully. So there I've got some in modules at home already to plant out as well. We still plant some on the plot as well. That's it. So next drill, I'm putting in some ruby streaks mustard. So there'll be a nice salad. They go about 1/2 inch deep, and they should be up in about 7 to 14 days. So we just cut those as they come up basically, use them in salads. So next drill, I'm putting in some French breakfast radish. So these should be available from sort of 4 to 6 weeks time really. I just sow them quite thinly. And they should be up in sort of 4 to 7 days and be ready in sort of 4 to 6 weeks. So these are a winter radish. They're called China Rose, and they sort of grow sort of 6 inches long and about sort of 2 inches wide. So these should be up in sort of 7 to 10 days, and they'll be ready in sort of 8 to 10 weeks I think, before they're ready. That's it. That's those done. So the next one we're sowing is some rocket Napoli variety, which is sort of an upright variety. These should sort of germinate in 4 to 7 days. They should be ready for, we can start pulling off leaves in sort of 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 10 weeks, hopefully. Yeah, so the good thing about sowing rocket this time of year as well, they don't go to bolt, they don't bolt so easily, because it's starting to get a bit cooler, and they're very, very hardy, so they'll grow all the way through the winter. Done. So next thing I'm sowing is some pak choi, which is Choco F1. It's part of the cabbage family. It's quite hardy, but you can cover it if it gets very, very cold. You can use the young leaves for salads, or you can use it as a spinach as well, spinach alternative. It's got a nice flavour to it. So I could transplant these as well. If we get quite a few that come up, we can transplant them and fill spaces here and there on the plot as well. Yeah, good crop for the period. So I'm going to put 3 rows of large giant winter spinach. They produce large dark green leaves, sown about 1 inch deep, and they should be available in sort of all the way through from October to April, hopefully. And what we'll do is we'll also cover them later on, sort of November onwards, just to give them a little bit of protection. We'll cover them just with some netting, really.
So you're going to put them on the end?
Yeah, put these on the end of them. We can always transplant these as well. We've got loads and loads come up. We can transplant them. Once they're nice and thick and established, we can transplant some of them into other spaces, and it'll give us, hopefully it'll give us some young leaves which we can use for salads, and then give us some spinach we can use all the way through the winter period.
Yeah, so we've just got these 2 in the middle left.
So I'm going to put in a little row of lamb's lettuce, or corn salad it's also called as well. It's a very, very hardy salad crop. It only has very small leaves, but it's useful in a period when there's not much else growing, really.
One more to go.
So last thing I'm sowing is some winter density lettuce, which is a hardy lettuce, upright variety. It's got a nice sweet leaf actually. So we'll put that in here as well. And we can always, I've sown some of these lamb's lettuce and winter density at home as well with modules. So if these germinate, we can always move these around as well. Put some in the greenhouse maybe when it's empty. So these should be germinated in sort of 7 to 10 days as well. Just cover all these over, give them a firm down, and then we'll give them another little drop of water as well, I think. So that should keep us in some fresh produce for quite a while during the autumn and winter periods. It's nice to have some fresh produce even in the winter. So I just watered the greenhouse, and I've just picked from outside some coriander, parsley and rocket. That'll be nice in some salads later. So yeah, we're still harvesting at the moment beetroot, courgettes, marrows. We're still on our second early potatoes. We've not even started on the main crop yet, but they're nearly nearly done now. Yeah, what else? Endive, some spinach and chard is still coming through. Lettuces, we've got a nice stream of lettuces coming through. So yeah, sweet corn, the second crop of sweet corn are nearly ready, although we've had some damage. Saw the parakeet eating one this morning. So earlier in the week we saw some crows eating them, and then there's a parakeet on there this morning. Some of the covering have fell off, and there's a parakeet on there nibbling away. So we've recovered that. Hopefully that'll keep them away. So yeah, so that's week 1 of September. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you found it informative. Give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Leave us some comments in the box if you've got any questions or suggestions, and hopefully we'll see you again next week for week 2 of September. And if you want to subscribe and follow our journey through the allotment year, please hit the subscribe button at the bottom. Thank you for watching.